Welcome to My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. Join Larissa and Malerie as they explore biohacking tips for women based on the latest science and research available today. Let them help you unlock your best self. It's time to hack smarter, not harder, together.
Hi, ladies. Welcome back to My Wellness Rewired. Malerie and I are wearing these amazing and very cute Rucking.
Cute is
Rucking vests.
Subjective and relative.
We're doing our episode today on Rucking, focused on women's health with Rucking. And so we are both getting in the mood by wearing our Rucking vests. Mine is a 20 pound vest, and it's a lot. It makes all your movements a little harder.
Yeah, we might be a little out of breath on this one. Let's be real. We're beginners to rucking, and so they're a little heavy.
But Rucking is amazing, so we're going to go over all the benefits of it, and it helps you burn calories. It's better on your joints than, as Malerie and I've said earlier, with running. We used to be runners, and it's kind of destroyed our knee joints, and so it's a lot better for you on your joints, and it helps you build strength and bone density. So there's lots of benefits specifically for women. So we're going to talk about this today.
And how much it's just such an approachable and easy to start biohack, right? It's one of the most approachable things that you can get started with that has, as on the cost to benefit ratio, this is definitely one of the ones that we're like, this one's worth trying. So we're going to talk about approachability, all of the benefits, the best way to get started, and just our impressions of it so far, because we've both started now. I'm sorry I got you into this, Larissa, but also not sorry because it's good for you. So,
well, and I like that it's a workout and it helps with all of that stuff. And I enjoy walking anyway, being out in nature and going out. And anyway, so this is just an easy way to add something on to your already walk that you're already doing. And so it's not like building a new routine. It's just tweaking it and making your routines even better. So, and more successful. So I'm very, very much enjoy it so far.
Yeah, it's I first heard of it. I don't remember what it was. It was probably late last year. I was reading the book that we've already talked about before, but I always talk about it because it's amazing. It's called The Comfort Crisis. And he has the author has a whole episode about, we're talking about podcasts, a whole chapter of his book about rucking. And the whole story is that he is out hunting in the wild, right? And he's killed this giant caribou and has to basically lug all of the meat from this kill back to camp. And so he's having to cross crazy terrain over hours, carrying over 100 pounds on his back. It's insane. Wow. But he goes into basically how insanely amazing for you rucking is for so many different reasons. And where it really first came from, I guess, is it's very military based, because when you're doing anything in the military, you have to carry your gear, you have to carry your equipment. And so rucking is huge in the military, but it's become very popular in the US over the last few years because it has such huge benefits to regular civilians too. And it's one thing that, he really makes a point in his book that we have lost, and that's the benefit of discomfort and how much they call it rewilding, where it's intentionally going places and doing things that make you very uncomfortable, cold, hungry, all those things just wake something up in you, mentally and spiritually and physically, that we're missing in this world of just comfort and convenience, right? And so the book is fascinating. We will actually make that part of our book club and go through that in detail. That will be one of the months that we do that book. But he talks about rucking and the insane benefits, especially for women. Let's just talk about a few of the benefits here. We have such a higher tendency to develop osteoporosis, right? So bone density is a very big deal. And as you age into your 30s and 40s and beyond, your bone density starts to decline. And so resistance training is just one of the number one ways that you can slow that down and help build better bone density, and no better way than rucking, right? So before we move on, I do think we should probably explain more of what rucking is.
Go back to the basics.
That might be helpful for some people.
Yeah. So rucking is basically a strength training building exercise where you're wearing extra weight as you walk and exercise. And some people like there's a wide variety of ways that people can do it. Like these are actually what we're wearing are actually rucking made or created type vests, but you could also DIY it and do a backpack with weights in it and
Right.
stuff, but it is to build your endurance and your tolerance to work out. And it's similar to actually a cardio workout. So it's supposed to get up your heart muscles and all the benefits of like a rowing or cycling or running. It's all those cardiovascular type exercises. This is in lieu of that. So it's nice because it's gentler on the joints and it's something that most people can do and have been doing is walking. So it just adds another layer. And then you can control your weight based on how you do. So you might start out slow, like you might start out with 10 or 15 pounds and then, work up, and then you can slowly add on the weight and build your resistance as your body strengthens. And it really
Hmm.
focuses on the core. So it really builds up your core muscles in this. And so when you see the ladies in the park, which I'm one of them, by the way, walking and you have weights in your hands or weights on your ankles, like those
Yeah.
build the smaller muscles, like in your arms and your legs, but actually
Yeah.
having the weighted vest in your center core helps build your core muscles, which is nice when you're walking because it's building areas that you
And
might
it
not
improves your
know.
posture, right? Which is a huge thing
Yes.
for me. Like I've
Yeah.
noticed that I walk my dog and I wear this, and sometimes I push my toddler in a stroller also while wearing this. So like pushing 30 pounds, carrying 20 pounds is intense, but it's a great workout. And I've noticed that I really have to pay attention to my posture, because if I'm slouching or if I have bad posture, it's more difficult. So it's like
Yeah.
I have to remind myself, not let the weight get me down, right? Don't let the weight get you, don't let it get you down. Anyway, and so it actually makes me focus on my posture more. And I felt that my core is strengthening, I'm actually getting better posture from it. So super cool. I need
That
it.
is so cool.
So, you
Yeah.
know, but the crazy thing is when you think about like the history of mankind and things, like other animals and creatures don't carry things. They're not made to carry things. And just general movement, animals tend to be have the ability to go fast, right? They're sprinters, like cheetahs, giraffes, gazelles, whatever. They can go super fast. I mean, even grizzly bears and even your little, your household dog can run faster, right, than a human can. But what humans have been amazing at doing is endurance, like being able to walk and chase and hunt animals until they fall down from exhaustion and dehydration, right? Whereas a
Mhm.
human can keep going. And we're also made to carry things. Like we can carry loads that are crazy heavy. Like they think, like they say, like a man can easily carry, like side carry 75 pounds and not even think about it, right? And so the idea behind rocking is that, like in the military, they did a ton of research to determine how much weight a soldier can carry and still be the ideal fighter soldier, right? Be able to fight and be crazy good at what they need to do to be the best, but also carry as much weight as possible. And they decided that weight was 50 pounds. So, like, they can ruck 50 pounds endlessly, right? And still be able to be their best in the battlefield or wherever. So, but I did note that if you weigh less than like 150 pounds, that's kind of the threshold. If you're less than 150 pounds, they say to not do 50 pounds. You got to do less weight because you're a smaller person. And
Well, and I
so,
think to start out with, it should really be like 10 to 15 pounds, and then you go up from there. You always should start
yes,
low.
we're
And
talking about like at its peak, right?
oh,
Like those are
yes,
the
yes.
weights that are the threshold. And but as beginners, we'll talk about that on how to get started, because you definitely want. I mean, I started with like 12 pounds. Like I started pretty low, and now I'm up at 20 pounds. But I don't think I'll go much past 30, because I think that the math they say that makes sense is it should be 10 to 20%
Of your
of
body
your
weight.
body weight,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of what the guide that you would want to use. Maybe start at 10% and your goals are to work up to 20% of your own body weight. So, but anyway, I just thought that it was so fascinating the way that you look back at humanity, and like we're just built to carry things. And walking is just so much better on our joints, especially if you historically have, runner's knee, like that sort of stuff, or arthritis, all that stuff. It makes such a huge difference. And since we both used to be runners and can't anymore, this has been a really cool challenge.
And it also, going back to the walking and the weight bearing, like the weight, like they say that, women over 30 should be doing weightlifting exercises to help with osteoporosis. So this automatically checks that box. So just when you're walking, then it becomes like a weighted bearing exercise, which will help with your bone density. And so 20% of women need it over 40. So
I'm surprised that number's not higher.
I'm sorry, 20% reduces. Sorry, let me rephrase that. 20% reduces after you go to turn 40. So it's like you have to almost like work out more than what you did before, because it reduces. And so you have to do 20% more after 40. I said that backwards.
I got you. That makes more sense. I was like, wow, that's a small.
Yeah, you're right.
The other thing that I really, and we can talk about our first impressions as we have tried this, is I really have loved the mental health benefits, because I think some people love the gym. My husband, he loves the gym. That's where he wants to be. He's a gym rat. I feel smothered trying to run on a treadmill in a building, right? And so I love walking outside. It doesn't have to be crazy. I'm not a crazy hiker. I know you hike a lot, but I just like to be outdoors without it being crazy. And so walking has been such a huge mental health benefit. But then when you add in the challenge of doing it weighted, I feel like you get more endorphins from the effort, right?
Yeah, like the runner's high kind of thing, where it's like, oh, you feel like you worked out, so you feel really good about yourself. And the best part about it is, like, you can do it like while you're listening to a book or a podcast. So like you can be doing it like something else. It's not something that takes so much of your time where you have to focus on what it is, where it's like you could listen, and not the walking's mindless, but you know what I mean? It's so automatic for us that we could walk and just listen to something, and it's a good distraction. So then you're like, wow, that was 30 minutes, and and it's done. It goes by so quick.
Yes. Yeah, that is so true. Although one thing that I did learn, because the way that I started, as a beginner should, is I started with lower weights. I started at like 12 pounds, and it was just my daily walk that I took my dog for a walk and took my toddler, slow, meandering. I think that the goal is to get to the point where they call it the rucking shuffle, I think is what they call it, ruck shuffle. And that's really a pace of walking that is, it's not walking, but it's not jogging. Like you're going at it's like speed walking, basically.
It's like a quick pace, yeah.
Which is probably the way that you walk, because you walk pretty fast. Naturally.
I walk pretty fast naturally, yes.
Yeah, so I don't. I mean, I do when it's just me, but when I have to, like, my dog's 6 months old, so I'm training him, and I have a toddler, I can't walk that fast. But that is my goal, is to get to the point where I'm doing the ruck shuffle, and it's supposed to be way more intense. The way I was just re-listening to the Comfort Crisis and the chapter about rucking, and he's walking with a guy who has been like, he's like done a ton of research into rucking, and he's literally rucking his child to daycare on his way to rucking to work, right? So he's walking with his friend who's doing this. I know. I was like, that's crazy. And there's so many healthier people out there than us, Larissa. That's okay. That's why we're here. We want to be better.
We're learning. We're trying to be better people. We're learning.
Yes, all you listeners who, you should feel seen if you can relate to any of that, because it's a challenge, but there are people out there who are amazing. So I was listening to his story, and he said that they were walking and talking about rucking while they were doing it, and they were dripping with sweat while they were talking about it. And I'm like, I don't drip with sweat when I walk. So I think I'm not working hard enough, and I think I need to. That's my next step right now that I've adjusted to the weight. I have postpartum considerations because my daughter just turned 2. So I feel like I've definitely been doing some recovery from childbirth, and it really wrecks your pelvis. I just felt like I was having hip pain and still having some round ligament stuff if I stress my body too much. Like there's just stuff when you're recovering from having a baby that you have to really be gentler about. And also as women, we have to make sure we don't overstress ourselves, right? So anyway, just listening to that story made me realize that I feel like I am getting past some of those things and I'm getting stronger. And now I can start to turn up the speed and really start to get the intense workouts, which I think is where you get the most benefit once you can get there. So
Yeah, this morning I definitely had to shower afterwards. Like there was not any other choice. Like I was like, I mean, I wasn't sweating bullets like that guy, but I felt like it worked out. I needed to shower.
yeah. See, that's the goal. I mean, it's so
know.
humid here that if I go outside, I feel like I need to shower.
That's
But
true.
it's
a
not
whole
because I
different
worked
type of
hard.
sweating.
That's a different type of sweating. Which tonight I have to take the kids to a swim meet. So I'll be sweating for 3 hours outdoor. I wish I was rucking, but that's okay.
Do you think that for an exercise they say to wear this and do this for this many minutes, but what about, do you think that just wearing your rucking vest around your daily house, doing your daily chores, do you think that's helpful?
Oh, I absolutely think it could be. And
Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about this. That's funny that you bring it up because with my schedule and with crazy kid schedules and things, some days I just can't be consistent about getting into the gym to weightlift. I want to tone up my arms and my shoulders. I want to have all those things. Yes. So I was like, man, what if I got the wrist and ankle weights to use for strengthening the smaller muscles, right? Leg and arm, and use them around the house. Like on my house cleaning days, if I'm wearing weights, it's literally resistance training while I'm doing my regular stuff, taking the kids to sports practices and things like that. When I'm being up and moving around, I feel like the concept would apply to the vest too. If you don't have time to go for a walk, on a day, you can still wear it doing other things if you're up and about, right? You could go grocery shopping wearing it, honestly.
Well, it just made me think about that because we put this on just for this episode, and I've been walking around with it and, doing different things with it on. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whew, like this is a workout. It's not anything like actual walking, but I definitely feel that there's a difference.
And it's probably a little different because like when you're walking, you're just doing a walking gait, right? Whereas we're like standing up from our computer chair and like walking over to grab something or adjust a camera or whatever. And so it is definitely, I think, stressing different muscles, which could help with like balancing muscles, I bet.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're just shooting the breeze on this right now, but I do think that would be beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting enough that when you have a busy day and you can't get out to walk, it could be interesting to put it on and just go through your normal day.
Yeah. I would be curious to hear from the community if anybody ever tries that, because that would be cool to know.
Let us know.
I may try it.
Let us know, because like I know that with my wellness health blood work done that I had done, my glucose was slightly elevated, like I'm right on the border of above, and I don't eat sugar. I'm not into sugar. I'm much more of a salt person. And so like I was very shocked about that result. But in the last year, I have not been consistent with my workouts. And so I think that because I'm not working out regularly, then it's impacting how I absorb, because I'm out of my routine, and I was so routine for so many years. And so I'm hoping that this will help me improve my blood sugar and get that work in, that work out in a more consistent way than I have been in the last 6 months.
When you meet a friend and walk every morning, right?
Yes. Only during summer though, because during the school year, we all have to get up and work and be at work at 6:30 so we can be ready for our day.
Yeah. I was going to say, because just doing that every day, I bet you'll totally see amazing benefits in your lab work, because that's a lot of, if only you could do it year round, but teacher schedules, man.
Yeah, exactly. If only I could do my blood work every 3 months, because by the time I get to my blood work again, it's going to be 3 months of summer and then 3 months of the school year. But I have lost 6 pounds just from the summer.
That's awesome.
Just by walking every morning and focusing on what I'm eating. And, I've definitely been great about my fasting window, but fasting's easy. That's an easy one to put in even when you're on vacation. So
that one's easy everywhere, because sometimes it's easier to not eat than it is to eat, especially traveling and stuff. Like sometimes it's easier to just not worry about it. Right. And so anyway, we will definitely talk about that in the future, but let's talk about some of the misconceptions, because I feel like there's a lot of things go around that are not necessarily true. One of them being that rucking hurts your joints, right? That is totally false. It's actually
the opposite.
Way less likely to cause an injury than any sort of running, right? There's way more injuries in running. And so I think it's really interesting because it turns out that in all the studies that they have done, that it's as long as you're doing it in proper form, right? So if you're doing anything crazy that's just like irresponsible with where you are, which is why we talk about starting slow and working up with like you do with any workout routine, right? Then it's really not going to be, this is just a way better alternative.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's much better on your joints, and it is great to start with. It's an easy, like you can do it any day. You can start tomorrow and you don't have to buy anything. You can literally get a backpack and put water bottles in it or whatever you have and start walking around your, your block a couple times or your neighborhood. So it's easy to start, and it is, so it's very cost benefits. Even this, like got this off of Amazon for like $36 or $37. It wasn't that much money, but it does make me, I like it in the sense that it puts me in my mindset when I put it on. I know I'm going to try, I'm focusing on my core. So it makes me hold my stomach in a little more. It makes me walk a little faster, and it helps with my stature, I'm pushing back my shoulders a little more.
Yeah.
So everything that you said, that is very helpful.
It's very true. I got mine on Amazon too, but we got 2 different kinds. You just picked a weight, right? Like yours just has a weight, but you can add weight.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It can go
mine
like 5
has,
pounds.
Yeah, like mine has, I'll try not to make the Velcro sound. There's like weights in it that you can like take out and put in, and they're like 2-pound weights. So like I've been able to just adjust along the way based on how it's, so like some days if I'm feeling my core is really weak, I'll do lower weight that day, right? And it's also like the conversation about syncing with your cycle, right? I'm going way heavier in my follicular phase, the first 2 weeks of my phase, than I am in the luteal phase, which is leading up to your period, right after ovulation. I have less energy, right? We've talked about this before. I love those TikTok videos where they like talk about the difference in hormonal cycles, like between men and women. Have you seen that? I'll have to send it to you.
It sounds funny. I don't have social media, so.
Yeah, that's true. I'm on TikTok way too much. Let's be real. But it's funny because there's like a dude that's lifting weights and he's just like constant. And the whole time he's just like pumping his, biceps. Then the girl's like up and she's pumping hard and she's energetic. And then she's like lethargic and just chill and like pumping slower. And then when it's her period week, she's on the ground, just laying there. I was like, truer things. This has never been truer. Like this has not reached my soul so much as this video does.
Well, it is funny because you kind of feel like you're going crazy, and then you're like, and then the next thing happens. So
like, duh.
True.
So it applies to this, to Rucking, just like it does to anything else, right? So it's nice to have something that you can adjust weight, but it's not necessary. Like it's like you said, it's so approachable. And that's another misconception, is that you have to be fit already to even start something like this, which is just not true. Anybody can do this, beginners. The most advanced rucker, I don't know what you would call it, can be carrying 50 pounds, walking next to somebody who's just started their first day with 10 pounds, and they're both rucking together. It's just doable,
Well, and I think that goes into a Rucking challenge, because like research shows that if you have accountability, it improves your chances of keeping it going long term up by 35%. So like if you could develop a group of friends or even family members, even if they're less, that don't even live in the same state, but then you guys all do the challenge together, then you can keep each other accountable. And so that's what we want to challenge our listeners to for this month, is we want to do a Rucking challenge, whether you just get an old backpack and put like water bottles in there, or however you want to do it. You want to actually get the best like us. That is quite an adventure, but you'll notice it now that you talked about Rucking. Like you'll see people when you're out walking in the park, like even this morning, I was, they have Rucking vests on, like, like you start noticing it everywhere you go. And so it's funny how you start becoming, I don't want to say part of a community, but like a Rucking athlete community. And so if you can socialize with your friends while exercising, you'll get a full-on workout, and you can actually hear about their day. You can talk about their day, and you can actually, it's emotional and social and physical workout all at the same time.
It's so true. And we'll put the start date for the challenge in our Facebook community. Like we're going to announce the date in there, and then we're just going to start it. And there's going to be some real accountability there, because I think it's so fun to hear people's stories and to their first impressions, and then to support them and cheer them on through it, right? Also, I need the accountability because I do really good. Like we talked about this with water, like you do really good for a while, but like then it falls off, because these are behaviors that we don't necessarily have had in our life. They're not established behaviors in our life, and we have to establish them. And a lot of times you need help and accountability to do that. And this is no exception. So we plan to do that in our Facebook community, My Wellness Rewired. And it will also be probably on our website too. We'll probably put something on there, mywellnessrewired.com. So yeah, look for that. Please join us, because we just would love to have you there, see you, talk to you, and reach out and connect. So.
And we do have a cheat sheet, just like a 1-page cheat sheet, the basics about rucking with all the research on the back, some of our favorite research on the back. And so that is on our website as well. And then as well as a tracking journal
tracker.
Like there's a tracker for the challenge, so you can keep track of what days you ruck and how you feel and what your energy was and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love this. Is one that I just love, because I really, the things that I look for are really biohacks that you get the biggest bang for your buck. Yes. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's been a few of them. There's been like the cold plunge and the sauna, huge bang for your buck. And then I feel like intermittent fasting, oh yeah, that's huge. And then Rucking is another one, where I'm in a busy lifestyle as a mom, as a woman with a career, all these things that are just pulling your time away. Like, this is just something that is so approachable, easy to start, with huge benefits. So yeah. It's, just, again, strength and fitness, you build your muscle, you burn more calories than you would walking. And in some cases, you burn more calories than you would running, when you are carrying that weight at a quick, that ruck shuffle pace, right? You build bone health, huge stress relief, lowers cortisol, boosts serotonin. The hormonal balance we didn't really cover, but it really does help you balance and stabilize your blood sugar better. And it just really helps with improving insulin sensitivity. And there's some research that shows that it supports menopause. Like, this is all stuff that we didn't even take the time to talk about today, but it really does help with mental clarity. What was that?
It can make your hot flashes 20% less on your hot flashes.
Oh yeah. See, that's great.
Yeah.
Like, it just does crazy good stuff. And then also, just for those of us who have a really hard time getting in the gym consistently, it's just another way to do it that's more fun, and also gives you some really good mental health benefits. Just, it's a no-brainer, in my opinion. So well, it's a no-brainer, guys. Do it and then tell me about it.
And if you have a few hiccups along the way, we're okay with listening to that too.
Yeah. But we want to hear it all. We do. Yeah. I don't mind a couple of complaints. I complain sometimes too. So it's good for us though. So yeah, I think that's what we got for today. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next time. All right, you wellness rock stars. That's a wrap on this episode of My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. We've had a blast dishing out the hacks and laughs, but hold up, let's keep it real.
Yep, we are not doctors. We are just sharing our biohacking adventures and learning right alongside you. Nothing we say is medical advice, so always, always check with your healthcare provider before trying any new wellness tricks.
Absolutely. This podcast is all about inspiration and entertainment, not prescriptions. So join our Facebook group for more sassy wellness vibes. Catch you next time.